Welcome to this community newspaper Facebook watch party, Excellence in Education. I'm Marta Perez, and our mission is to expose and inspire excellence in education. Before I introduce my extremely important and talented guest who has done so much for education, please note that we have used all of the safety precautions here at Community Newspaper. Everyone wore their masks. And by the way, this is a Ferguson High School mask that we've worn today. We have used hand sanitizers before it came in. They check our temperatures. We have this great plexiglass between the speakers. So, community newspaper goes out of its way to make sure that anything that is done on their premises is as safe as possible during this horrible pandemic. And also, please follow us on Facebook and send us questions via our chat room. Now, for the best part of this party, allow me to introduce an extremely talented guest. This is the person that I'm about to introduce is the principal of the year for Miami-Dade County. And we have more than 400 schools. And I think this selection this year was incredibly wonderful because as I will be asking this principal, he is the principal of the largest high school arguably in Florida, certainly in Miami-Dade, but also in Florida for a long time. He has had a stellar career. He has been the principals of two tough schools simultaneously, has all the accolades that a person could possibly have. And I want to get to him right away and ask him questions about himself and about the state of excellence in education. Please welcome Mr. Rafael Alexander Villalobos, the principal of John A. Ferguson Senior High School in Miami-Dade County.
Well, thank you, Dr. Perez, for having me here in this Excellence of Education program on Facebook Live. It's truly an honor to be here and to be recognized and to support our amazing and wonderful district.
Thank you. Thank you. Now, before we get started asking you about your wealth of knowledge, because honestly, I can't imagine you could write books, not a book, but books, just on your experiences in all the very different school settings that you've had, these types of parents that you've met, the types of students that you've met. Tell us a little bit about Rafael Villalobos, the man. How did you even get started at the school? How did you ever decide on education as a career?
Well, I tell you, I've come from humble beginnings, and my grandfather was a chef here in Morro Castle many years ago.
Now, your parents were from?
From Cuba. They're from Cuban descent.
And your grandfather was a chef?
And my grandfather was one of the cooks, one of the chefs at Morro Castle, and my grandmother worked in a factory. And my mother and father worked very hard. So they all took time to take care of me and put me through school and get me through that important stage in
how
our
important was education to your
family?
family?
Extremely.
And how would they manifest that to you?
We needed to do something that would continue to make us successful. And the word was, I don't want you to be a cook. I don't want you, to do the hard labor. I want you to do something that's going to help others, to be a figure, a role model, a leader. And what they didn't realize is that they were already leading me by example, and they were already true leaders. And that's really what inspired me and motivated me through their hard work, through their dedication. I wanted to also instill that. I also wanted to be that person that people looked up to, and not because of a position, but because of the acts that you would do on a daily basis. Originally, one of my goals was to go into law enforcement. And
why would you want to be going into law enforcement?
Well, I wanted to be a public servant, and again, I wanted to serve the people.
And you looked up to like the policemen you
And
saw?
I did, and I looked up to being able to help people in the most critical times that they may face. And my uncle, who was a teacher, said, "Well, instead of putting individuals in jail or going through that, why don't we start helping them at a younger age? Why don't we make a difference?" And it clicked. It really, the light bulb came on, and I
And
said,
how old were you then?
I
About.
must have been probably 19.
Okay, so you were
19.
already where
I had graduated from high school already.
Uh-huh.
I was in college. I was doing my criminology
Okay.
degree, and it really resonated in me.
Okay.
And I said to myself, that's awesome. I think I can really do that. I'm up for the challenge, and I went into special education.
Oh, and why did you go into special education? What drew you there?
The draw was when I was in high school. My little brother Jonathan was autistic, and he was in special education classes. And I saw the work that was committed by those teachers and the things that they did. And then I remembered the work that was done for me in high school by my teachers and how much they cared and the passion that they had for their students. And I put all that together and I said to myself, that's a recipe that can continue to help students, for years and years and years, that I could go home, I could lay my head on a pillow and feel that I have made a difference in the lives of children, the lives of my community. I feel that we are all in public education change agents.
And Mr. Villalobos, so then you began as a teacher, correct?
I did. I started at South Dade Senior High School as a special education teacher in 1994, and learned a lot. Was under great leadership and amazing people.
And you have a very beautiful wife and a beautiful family. How many children do you have?
I have 4 children, so I'm very blessed. And my oldest is in Arizona right now. I've got 2 at Ferguson Senior High School right now, and
how do they like it that dad is the principal?
well, one is extremely shy, won't see me or look at me while he's in school. The other one has no problem whatsoever, and it's all good. So it's the 2 characters, and you have to be receptive to that and respect,
And
that
respect,
as well.
yes, absolutely.
But they're proud, and they have a lot of pride, to
Yes,
be at Ferguson.
And I must say, and I have so many questions to ask you, but teenage years are so difficult, and you have 4,000 of them. How many students are currently
We
enrolled?
currently have 4,300 students.
4,300 students at a very difficult time, and I know that you've seen it all, you've heard it all. I'm sure that some stories are heartbreaking, but you do it, and your school has continuously outperformed itself. Please tell us some of the accomplishments at Ferguson.
I think the major accomplishment is the culture that we instill, and at Ferguson, it's that family environment, and we run the school with the utmost expectation that all of our children are important, that all of our students are important, that all of our staff are important, and that the entire staff is a part of the success of our children, and that's it echoes in the hallways. Students that meet with teachers will will talk back and forth that Mr. Villalobos has an open door policy. The administration has an open door policy. We're here to support you. We're here to work with you. We're here to listen to your ideas. We're here to be creative. Obviously during the times of this pandemic, it's been very difficult for everyone. But to be able to still have that feeling of unity and that feeling of inspiration to continue their education and in the most difficult of times, to me, it just feels amazing. When you look at, we just ranked number 1 in attendance in all high schools in Miami-Dade County. That says something. That says that students are happy with the work that we're doing, that our teachers are amazing, our staff is amazing. And I give them all the credit. I mean, the Falcon family is amazing. So just that alone should really tell you how things are going.
Mr. Villalobos, what has been the toughest decision you've had to make as a principal at Ferguson?
I think that the toughest decisions are those of children and moving them in the right direction when they don't want to move in the right direction, and kind of making them understand that these young years will soon pass, and you don't want to waste those, right? So in making those decisions, it's letting them know that there is a future, even though they may think that there isn't a future. And we've had so many students across the country right now with social emotional issues and depression, and I think that holistically, that's one of the things that we work and strive hard to make sure that our children are happy. And it's difficult.
So you're saying that one of the toughest things that you have is to deal with students' emotional problems, and students who are depressed, and students who what I hear you saying is that to tell them there is a brighter future, and I must say that is quite a job, because yes, all of us, particularly now during the pandemics, people have highs and lows.
Yep.
And young students who have other problems, who have parents that maybe don't get along, who have parents and family situations that are very difficult, can very easily become depressed, and we don't want to lose anyone.
Agreed. And having that open line of communication, our student services teams, our teachers, everyone knows that the priority is the student's health, right? And the district has great plans in place as well to support students. So those are probably one of the most difficult conversations to have, because luckily, we do so much, in our building to change students' lives and be positive. And it's so inspiring when I go out and maybe I go to a medical facility, or I go to an accountant, or I go somewhere and somebody says, well, I was a student at Ferguson, and you were my principal, and I want to thank you, because the entire staff, always showed love and passion and compassion. Looking at that brighter side of the things that we do, not just the curricular side, but the exact complexity of the human being.
Yes, that is wonderful and wonderfully put. And congratulations on all the successes at Ferguson, because #1 in attendance, your magnet schools are amazing, and how this is a city that you run.
Yes.
I mean, everyone knows you in that part of the world, West Aid. Everyone knows you because either they've been to the school because they were a parent, or they were maybe a small child going with a sibling. It's really an incredible job that you do. And when you say, I notice that you include your staff on all of these. What do you look for when you hire staff? When you are looking for teachers, and I know that there's a teacher shortage, so there's just so much wiggle room that some principals have. What are the qualities that say, this is going to be a great teacher for my school?
Well, that's a great question, and that's something that we know that we strive very hard to make sure that there is compatibility in our vision, there's compatibility in our goals, and there's definitely that compatibility in what the expectation is for our students, not just academically, but as human beings, and what they would expect from a teacher. So above and beyond, I think the first thing is that they have a love and a passion for what they want to do, if they have not done it before and they're going to be new. And immediately when I interview somebody and I see that come out of their pores, I immediately know, okay, I think that we're heading in the right direction. And then obviously, depending on the curriculum that teacher would be teaching, how much knowledge does this teacher come in? And if they're new, can we continue to provide professional development and really educate them and make them even stronger? So I think that those two things are pivotal, along with making sure that that they're willing and moldable to learn.
Who are the toughest teachers to get these days? who is it that we have a shortage and it's difficult for you to hire?
Well, I think it's always difficult to hire across the board right now. I can't really say that there's one over another. Luckily for us, we've been blessed that we don't have a lot of teacher turnover. We really keep our teachers, and so I really haven't been faced with that dilemma, luckily. But right now, I think it's pretty tough. But the district is doing a phenomenal job through its human capital.
And what happens when you know that you need to hire someone and you don't find anyone that has that love and passion that you speak of, that is such a draw for you in a quality for love and passion for teaching? What do you do?
Well, we
How do you help a teacher who's not that loving and passionate, but to get there, so that at least if they can't be exceptional, they can be adequate?
Well, I think everybody has room to grow and everybody has room to learn, no matter who we are. I'll be the first one to tell my teachers that I always have something to learn, something to grow. So having that open mindset is important, but making sure that we have professional developments that really reflect the needs of our school and our students are important. And making sure that you have teachers that can also teach other teachers by example is also extremely important, because when they actually see their peers doing something that is above and beyond, right, they feel more comfortable in learning it and then applying it as well. So I think that's one of the recipes of success, is making sure that you're building capacity in the building, across the board, and then utilizing teachers that are that passionate and that loving and that understanding, and use a variety of strategies to understand how the students are feeling, whether it's pre-surveys, about what the expectation is coming into a class at the beginning of the year, or a post-survey, somewhere in the middle of the year of, so how are things going, according to that pre-survey, and then an end of the year survey. So what did you think about the class? So, we've done those PDs. A lot of our teachers do that. They open themselves up to, I wouldn't say the word is criticize, but to learn about themselves and how effective were they. And the administration does that as well. So that way everyone's on the same page.
How many teachers do you employ?
I have 168 teachers.
168 teachers. Imagine the variety. And how many employees do you have altogether?
300.
300. Wow. It's a city.
It is. It is a little city, 62 acres. It's a little college campus.
Wow.
It's our piece of the world, Falcon Nation.
Falcon Nation. and congratulations, because it's such a wonderful school, and you make me so proud, because I represent that area. So
thank you.
I'm so thrilled that you are our principal there in such a large school, because you're able to touch the lives of so many students with
That's what's important to me.
And with your academic excellence. And now I'd like to go back a little bit in your past and talk about some of your other positions, one of which is very impressive, which was you were a principal of 2 tough high schools at the same time. And tell us about that and how that came to be.
I was the principal at the Law Enforcement Officers Memorial High School.
Tell us what that means. This is a brand new thing. I think it's the only one in the nation. At that time it was. I believe. I don't know if there's another one now, but it was an amazing opportunity. It's a police. It's run by the school district and the Miami Police.
Correct.
And they chose you probably because you had some law enforcement background.
Correct.
Right.
Correct. So that was it was an exciting time, because I was able to bring 2 of the passions that I love together, and we were able to institute 3 academy tracks. So it was the Homeland Security track, which was more law enforcement, the Law Studies track, which was going into the legal aspects of the law, and then we had the Forensic Science track, which is huge as well and very important. And they all 3 meet at some point or another.
Okay, so if a student signs up for one of these, like the Homeland,
correct,
when they graduate, what will they have?
Well, these individuals at that time were interning, with Miami-Dade College, through the law enforcement track. There were internships, with Homeland Security, FBI. We had chief justices that were part of our committee and board. We had judges, attorneys. So, part of that process was, can I get the real world experience, whether it's in the summer and community hours, and can I also do some dual enrollment as well? And then obviously the textbooks and the assignments were all thematically comprised to make sure that they met the expectations of that.
What these are some of the wonderful programs that we have,
Yes,
and our
amazing.
magnet programs that you have now at Ferguson, where a student is is studying in high school. They're taking reading, writing, arithmetic, but they're also getting some other things that will serve them once they graduate. And in the case of the law enforcement academy, that they would be able to have police types of jobs, and
Correct.
Or lawyers, or all of that experience when they're so young. It's a wonderful concept.
Oh, it's amazing, and sometimes you find students that they thought they were going in this direction,
I see
right?
that.
And then they
Yes.
realize, I really don't
I really
like
don't
this
like
now,
this,
which
yes.
is also good.
Yes.
And we may not think so, but a student may spend 2 years at a college, spend some money in that direction,
Yes.
and then realize that's not really what I want
What
to
I
do. It's
wanna
not where
do
my
in my
heart
life.
is. I don't
Yes.
really like it. So being able to expose students to this early is both important.
So that was hard enough. To be the principal of this brand new concept, brand new school, have to deal with a board and so many other issues, etc. But how did you then also get to be the principal of another important high school in our district?
Yeah, I was also the principal of the Tornadoes and at Booker T. Washington, and
Booker T. Wash. Oh, these two schools are close to downtown
they are.
Miami.
They were close to
so
one
they
another.
were close.
Yes, thank God they were close, and Superintendent Alberto Carvalho was awesome in trusting in me and believing in me, and knowing that we were going to able to make sure that both of the schools were successful and that we were doing the right thing to help both entities. And I was able to do that. And at Booker T. Washington, we were able to open up new programs and new certification programs and increase the rigor and provide that commonality and teacher education
How
and
would you
profession.
handle this? What did you live out of a suitcase? did you live at one of the schools?
Now that I'm almost 50, I look back and I say to myself, I don't know how I quite did it, but definitely worked 7 days a week, worked a lot, had some great people in place as well, was very supported by the district, had great region superintendents and district directors that were always there to assist in anything that I needed, and we made a difference. And we made a difference in the lives of children. We made a difference in the lives of those in our community, and we made great strides in graduation rates. It was awesome. It
Yes,
was awesome.
well, you everywhere you go, you turn things into gold. You have a magic touch, and
Thank you.
we, I think it's your integrity and your passion, what you look for in teachers, your passion, and keeping, every student, like you say, every student is an individual, and they can achieve. And I believe the same way. I'm so
Absolutely.
proud to have you as a principal. And as the principal, we're running out of time, but as the principal of the year, you represent more than 400 principals.
Yes.
And what would you, in these final moments, say to the community that being a representative of principals, what would you say to the community about the job of a principal, and how we can help you the most?
I would say first and foremost that, and not being biased, we have the finest principals in the entire country by far. They work hard. They go above and beyond every day to ensure that every single one of their schools, are meeting the demands necessary for students in a post-educational world, that they graduate at some point and then they move on, and that they're going to be active, positive contributors to our communities. And I know that all of our principals strive so hard to do that, and they do that with love and integrity as well. So I would start with that. And then I would say to parents, continue to entrust in us, continue to entrust in the work that we do, and that although times are challenging, and although that through this pandemic, in many cases it doesn't seem as stable as we are accustomed to, that we will get through this, and that your school is a beacon, is a lighthouse of your community, and to continue to support the principal and the teachers, and together we're going to make sure that the most important commodity that we have in our country and in this community is our children, and that we can get through it, and that together with that positive resonating voice, that we're going to make sure that they come out of this emotionally well and academically sound and marketable.
Let's hope from your mouth to God's ear. Before we go, and we're already almost out of time, or how much harder has your job been this year due to the pandemic, and is, because it's still very challenging, I think, than having been a principal a year, 2 years ago?
It's about juggling a variety of balls in the air, kind of, and making sure that you stay focused on the ultimate goal, which is making sure that students are learning, and that learning is going to get them to graduate, which is the most important piece, and that they are going to then be successful at whatever they do after they graduate. But apart from that, we at the district, we've done so much to also help our students, and when you look at the meals that we have served.
And you have
and
done
we've
so
served
much.
hundreds of
and
thousands of meals.
congratulations on all you've done.
I mean, it is heartwarming, and it is just an incredible feat to be able to see that above and beyond, just the academics of a school, that we are actually, hands-on with the individuals that have the most need right now, and doing that, just although the work is harder, it is I feel so much more rewarded, by being a part of this process and being a part of that beacon, of that lighthouse of the community. So juggling it is in no way, shape, or form easy, but it is manageable, and it's even more manageable when we know that we're making strides to help others every single day through this, and they're counting on us. They're counting on us, and we've got to make sure that we're there for them.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And with those final words, which is that they're counting on us, and that those are beautiful words. They're counting on all of us, and we're counting on you. Thank you so much. We ran out of time. I have so many other questions. Please come back, and thank you all for listening to this program and for having this wonderful guest, Mr. Villalobos. Again, we close this program of Excellence in Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.